Hello, I'm going to try to work through how we do the waypoints example, which is listed here under using artificial intelligence in games in the second week of our course here, or camp. You'll see that waypoints can be implemented in many different ways. In looking on a Unity forum, I found this code, which you can get if you simply click there. I brought it over and inserted it here so that you could use it. I acknowledge this was taken from a Unity forum, which there is a link to it here. And if you use it for anything specific and you want to disseminate it amongst others, you may want to credit Mike A15 for this version. It's pretty easy, but I thought in addition to what I'd written up, I would help you through what to do. So this is the code. We'll leave it there for just a second. It is intimidating to see all this code, but fortunately you don't have to do anything at all with it except copy it. There are a set of steps to take right here, which we'll review just for a second. The first one says, attach this script to a game object with a rigid body and a collider, and we can do that. Change the size variable to the number of waypoints you want to use, and that begs the question, well, what is a waypoint anyway? Well, waypoints are different places, say for example on a plane that you can go to, that you would want something like a soldier patrolling various points, for example, in a game to do. And we have to check all the waypoints to find out they have colliders and find out these other things that are listed here. We've got them listed to do, and if it doesn't work, probably it hasn't been done just right. So, without a further ado, I'm going to open Unity. Oh, and there's the waypoint example I just did for practice to see that it would work. And if I press play, you will in fact see the waypoint rolling along, or the capsule rolling along there in between the different spheres that I put out there. So our objective is to do this. So I'm going to stop Unity and I'm going to create a new scene, and with that new scene I'm going to put in a 3D object, a terrain. And there's the terrain. So there's a 3D object with a terrain in it. You can see it. So that's pretty nifty. And I'd like now, the terrain is white and not so nice, so you need to put a, I don't know, something green or something you can see a white ball or other thing against. So what I did is you have to put in a texture. If you recall, on a terrain, there's a point here where it has a paint texture. If I click the paint texture, it says no terrain textures defined. So what I do is press edit texture and add texture. And there's a place over here that I can say select, and I can select a texture from someplace. Now, here's the technique that I used to get that, in case this isn't clear. I went and I decided I'd want to put grass on this. So I'd say grass texture. And there are grass textures out there. And if I do that in Google, you can see, gee, there's a lot of them. So I just clicked on one of these. I don't know which one. Shall I get this one? It looks pretty good. And that grass texture looks pretty good. And there is a texture there that I can save and press save. And once I've got that texture, I can simply drag it over to assets right there. And I did it just then, and I skipped that step, but you can drag the texture over and onto assets and it will appear right there. But at that point, what I can do is say select, and I can say select the texture, and I'll look for it here, and there it is, the one that I just dragged over, and press add. And look what happened. You get a pretty nice looking texture that looks, well, it looks a lot like grass. Well, not a whole lot, but that way, looking straight down, it looks kind of like grass. And let's come back out and look for the main camera. It's way over in the corner. So what I can do, I just say I'll move it here and put it somewhere up in the middle. And then right in and about there, what I'd like to do is to bring in, well, let's just bring in some simple things. Say, for example, let's bring in a capsule. There's a capsule. And let's bring in, that would be the one that we move around. And let's create, maybe some spheres for the waypoints. And I guess I should bring that in a little bit better way, but that's okay. I can bring it up there. Where is that sphere? It's right in there someplace. There it is. Okay. Now, I need 3 of them, so I can just hold down the Command key or Control key if you're on a PC and press D for duplicate twice, and there are 2 more spheres. So I could bring them out here and put them around and about some places that the capsule can visit. Now, we've got those 3 spheres. You got the capsule. The capsule needs some things. It said, I think on that direction it needed a rigid body. And that rigid body, and here's a hint, needs to be is kinematic, and I listed why that was on the directions of how to do this. But it needs the code that we had back on the other sheet, which I'll go back to in a moment. So I want to add that code, so I can just press New Script from Add Component. And we could call it, let's call it something like S_waypoint. Or maybe waypoints, and say Add Component. All right, let's see it. It's here somewhere. Maybe I didn't do it. Let's try that again. Create and add S_waypoints. Okay, and C#, and I can. It says it already exists. A script called S_waypoints. Okay, so I will add the script called S_waypoints. Oh, smart, huh? There it is. Okay, that's all we had to do is to add that. However, it turns out that that script, let me look at it a moment, is the one I added earlier when I was trying it out. I just went back to this screen and I went all up to right here before it said using Unity engine, and went down to the bottom of it and then pressed Control C and then copied it into the S_waypoints file that we're making here. Now, interestingly enough, the key to making this work is that this name right here where it says class has to be identical to the name of S_waypoints. That name has to be the same as this name in order for this to work. If yours doesn't work, that may be a problem. But at any rate, if I put that in and then I say File, Save as, it was not exactly that, swaypoints.cs. And once that's saved, we are ready to take the next step. And the next step here is you can specify how many waypoints there are in this script. Say, for example, there's 3 waypoints here. 3 of them are the spheres. So I can take a sphere and drag it down and put it here. I can click on the next sphere and drag it down and put it there. And I can click on the next sphere and drag it down and put it there. And I guess for now I'll just leave these variable values to be what they are, and you can look in a while and see what you can do with that if you want to change them in some way, and just see what happens. And I think other than that, I'm good to go. Now, where is that? Oh, there I see is the cylinder. But where is my calendar? My camera. My camera is up here, and as you can see in the preview, you can see things like this. Now I may want to move that up just slightly, and then maybe direct it down a little bit by rotating it down like that. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? So I'm looking up at there, and I have the camera looking down on these items here. Now, what happened to my other sphere? There's one sphere. Do you see it light up? Yep. And that's the second sphere. First sphere. Oh, and the second sphere. Oh, they're all together, aren't they? So I can just take this sphere and move it. Notice I'm pressing just W, and I can move this up a bit. So let me take it and move it over a ways and up to something like that. And then I should have my capsule right down there. Okay, I'm good to go, I think. And this is an interesting way, incidentally, to line up things so you can see what's going on the plane, and you can also see the items on the plane. I'd like to have that capsule just maybe slightly higher, so I can move it up and it'll bounce off the plane. And they say to also look at these and make sure that the trigger is checked, so when something bumps into it, it knows to do the next thing, which is good. And let me just check the 3 of those. And I'm not sure whether we have to do that with the capsule or not. Probably. We'll see. So undoubtedly, as is the usual case, I've done something wrong and this won't work. But we'll try it out and see. Okay, I'm going to cross your fingers, hold your breath, whatever. Here we go. Ooh, there it goes. Oh, it looks like it works, doesn't it? Isn't that amazing? So, if you wanted to, say, make a soldier patrolling points around something, you could simply get rid of those spheres by making them invisible. How do you make a sphere invisible? You go to the mesh renderer on the sphere and you click the mesh renderer off. I can go to the second sphere, click it off. It's not rendering it. And again, it's not rendering it. But there it is. There's the soldier patrolling the yard. And of course, you can put in more of those waypoints and have the capsule or the soldier or whatever it is visit those. So you can have a fairly complex pattern. So at any rate, I hope this will step you through what to do. Good luck with doing it.